It feels like yesterday.
Really?
It still does. And that's really what I was reflecting upon, because it's just kind of like a mother waiting for her child to walk through the front door and just come home and run up the stairs and hear her car pull up, and it just feels like this just happened. And I don't know if it's because we're in the middle of of this case, whereas, some deaths the brain can comprehend when someone is sick, or when there is a car accident, or old age, even suicide. You know why. But when there's a death and it's a murder, homicide, it's different. You don't know why. And so you're constantly running through scenarios in your head, and you're never at peace with it because you don't understand it. You cannot comprehend. So it keeps the wound open, and you're never fully able to move on. That's why I say I'm not going to ever move on. I'm going to try my best to move forward and take those baby steps to move forward. But moving on, I'll never let my daughter go. Any of my children.
Here we are looking at 1 full year. Has
Yeah.
anything changed in your thought process over that year?
Oh.
How are you feeling looking at this 1 year anniversary?
A lot has changed. It's changed me tremendously. Some for the good, some for the bad. The way I view things now is completely different. The way I speak, the people in your life, even the way people have responded to me has been, there are some people and friends that just completely distanced themselves and dropped off because they too don't understand this, and it scares them. And so nobody knows how to deal with it. And that's the first thing that they tell us in, one of the groups I'm in. The fastest way to clear a room is to tell someone you have a murdered child. People don't like what they don't understand and what they fear. So, but there has also been other people that have been faithful through the whole thing and loving and supportive. And then there's also been another side where they see opportunity, and I won't address that.
What will you do on the anniversary? Has that crossed your mind yet?
For me personally, mourn my daughter. I mourn her every day. But the candlelight vigil is something that I believe and I hope will help other people find closure and be able to heal and bring peace, a little bit more peace to this city and amongst her friends and the community and everybody that this has affected. And so I think it's pretty special to have something like that underneath the stars with the candles and just beautiful music playing, and the community as one, because Bella touched people all the way from, I don't know, Highlands Ranch to, I can't even tell you, it just Boulder, Denver, Colorado.
Sure, all those people who didn't know her.
And them too, absolutely. And so, and that's the beauty of that park, is that it is in the heart of the city. If you look at it geographically on a map, it is in the heart of the city, right there in the middle. And to me, that has a lot of meaning, because this was Isabella's home, and she was a Rose baby, and born and raised here. So I believe it only is fitting.
So I didn't know there was a candlelight vigil that night? Was that the plan?
Yes, June 10th at 5:30 p.m. And we're gonna have live music, food trucks,
And it will be
many
at
people.
her park.
Yes, it will be at the park there where her her mural is, and it's going to be hard, but it's going to be beautiful. And just for all of those that have been affected by gun violence as well, they get it. And it's also needed. I would love to go to a candlelight vigil at a park at night in the summertime and just listen to music and be at peace with people that I love. I've never seen something like that anywhere in the city, or heard of anything like that in Denver.
What does that park mean to you now that you know all that's been done to it, and
Sure.
her beautiful mural there?
Yeah. It's continuing Isabella's work in the community, and continuing her efforts. Not only is it something now for the present, for people to enjoy and remember her by, but it's continuing her and her presence and everything that she had to give everybody else. And also those that have been affected by gun violence. And so through all the work that has been done in her name, if we can just save one life or one incident from happening, my daughter's death will not go down in vain.
And what do you think about when you're sitting at her park?
Honestly, why? Because I look around and I see people walking their dogs. I see people riding their bikes at all hours of the night. And I just have to wonder, and I look around at the buildings and the windows and the apartments, and I wonder why. Why? Why did it happen? Why her? I can't get that out of my head. Yes, I'm so grateful for everything that the city and county has done. They have been such a phenomenal support through Isabella's death and all of this, and the people that have worked on that park have been so kind and put in extra hours there. I don't know why. But Anne, and I think to myself, if I knew why, would it be good enough? Would the answer satisfy my heart? If I knew why my daughter died and why she was killed, shot, would that make me feel better? No. Does it bring Isabella back? No. Does it change the circumstances? No. So I have to let it go. And that's my part in my healing journey, to be able to move on.
Tell me about Isabella. What was going on in her life? What did she aspire to do? What were her dreams? Tell me about her.
Oh, wow. She was a handful. She, as you can see, she was Bella. There was nothing about her that was unoriginal. You can never duplicate that child, inside and out. Her natural beauty to the woman that she was. She had the biggest heart, and soft-spoken, kind, very naive, almost to a fault, very trusting. And you know, where her sister is very motivated and, you know, this is what I want to do and I have everything planned and this is how it's going. Isabella was just like, I'm just going to take the day as it comes. And there would be some days I would come home and she would be sitting on the top of her car, just, you know, drinking her water or whatever, just laying in the sun with her sunglasses on. And I'm like, what are you doing? Nothing, Mama. I see that. Okay. She's like, I'm just chilling. You should try it. Thanks. No.
So she was a free spirit.
Oh, yes, by all means. She was definitely a free spirit, and she was a woman that could not be tamed, and extremely independent, empathetic, kind, loving, forgetful. She'd come home at least 3 times before she would actually leave the house. A little ditzy, yeah, but boy, she was smart. Such an intelligent woman, just her book smarts. She was extremely, extremely smart.
Was she working? Was she a student?
She was working at Mexico City lounge. Restaurant, yes, and loved it there and working there with her friends.
What did she do?
And she was a server. And, you know, she was trying to just find her place in life and move forward, I think, and find her wings and work through her own personal hurt and experiences through her life.
Just growing up.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
mean, I can't speak on just growing up at the age of 20 or 21 because by that time I had already had Bella and Lucia. So my growing up was much different than my daughter's. And my goal in life was to make sure that they didn't come out like me. I didn't want them to have to live the hard life that I did. And I think that's every parent's dream and every parent's goal, is to make sure that their children have more than what they did. And I'm not saying that my parents didn't provide for me, because they did. They've been great and always have. But you always want more for your children, right? And do the best that you can to raise them. And kept her in gymnastics. I had her in gymnastics from the age of 6. Same with her brother and sister in their sports. And she was always on principal's honor roll, K through 8. Same school there. She was a brownie. She loved selling her Girl Scout cookies, and I had to go pick all of them up and distribute them. So, okay, so you get it.
Yes.
You know. Yeah. So it's not really, it's you doing the work. Yes. So that was her, the gymnastics, Girl Scouts, her social life, and she was just so beautiful, and she had that je ne sais quoi about her, where people just naturally loved her, and there was this intangible spirit about her that attracted people to her.
She's stunningly beautiful.
She is. Yes, my children are very beautiful children, and she's you can't replicate that beauty.
That relationship, is that something you want to talk about? Or was
My
it
relationship with my daughter?
No, with the boyfriend. Was that the right word?
I believe, they were starting to progress and move forward in their relationship, and had made they were starting to plant stuff together. And so for her 21st birthday, I gave her a terrarium. So it would be kind of like their first little garden. And that was also what prompted me for Bella Joy Gardens as well, to pick up where Bella left off. As you can see here in my home, I love plants. I believe they bring life into a home, and Bella loved them as well. And I always keep fresh flowers in the house every week. So it's how I raised my daughter.
And they have planted some of her favorite flowers at the garden. Is that right?
What they did was they made the garden so it was a butterfly garden. So I think my butterfly might be she's hooked up here to the thing in the butterfly. So they made it a butterfly garden so that it attracts butterflies and hummingbirds. So they put very specific plants there and colors. That is one thing in a murder trial that is very difficult, because you have so many questions as a parent and you want to know, but we can't, because it is a murder trial. And this is something that is also, the objective here is to put this guy behind bars as long as possible, and whomever else is affiliated. So I may have questions, and I'm sure they'll come out in court eventually, but it's like I have to wait years or until this is done. So the hardest part for me, it wasn't planning the funeral. It was, yes, burying my daughter. That was difficult. But the P hearing, proof evident hearing, watching her murder, seeing the pictures. As a mom, it's one thing to watch a movie and see that, but when you see your child, it's not a movie anymore. It's real life. And believe me, I never in a million years dreamt that this would be something that would happen to us. Never. Never ever. But yet here I sit. That's hard.
And what do you want to know? I mean, I'm sure you
Like
have
I
a
said,
million questions.
why? Why?
You indicated, though, you had some concerns about the initial investigation. How? First of all, I mean, you weren't even called, right? You weren't even notified of Bella's death?
No. I will say, the homicide detective came to my door 3 days later.
3 days.
And he confirmed the murder. Now keep in mind, they don't want to just say, hey, your child's dead, and have that being the wrong person.
Right.
So they have to go through due process and a series of things to be able to confirm her dental records and everything to confirm her death. So yes, it took time. As far as the day that it happened, it was obviously the worst day of my life. One of the worst days of my life. But the news,
That's how you knew? From us?
social media, her best friend called me, Mama, because they all call me Mama. Mama, I think something happened. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I was just texting Bella like 45 minutes ago, an hour ago, and I'm meeting her and to give her birthday shoes. It was just her birthday. And not her shoes, her present. Just let the cat out of the bag, her gift. Give her her gift. And she, that was the last text I had from her, was that morning. And Mama, I'm so excited to see you. And I was on my way to go see her. And I was in my car, and as her friend called me, Mama, I think something happened. And I said, what are you talking about? I think something happened to Bella. And I said, what? I just got off the phone with her. Mama, something happened. And I said, I just got off the phone with her. Are you sure? Like an accident? What are you talking about? Something happened. You need to be more specific. You can't just tell me that and hang up the phone. And he said, let me call around and let me double check and see before I say anything else. And by that time, I'm frantic. And I'm like hauling down there. And I called her sister. I said, have you heard from Bella? And she said, no, I haven't. And I said, do you have her locations on her phone? And she said, yes. I said, where is she at? She goes, I think she's at Darian's house. She's in that area. And I said, okay, so she's at Darian's? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, all right, well, I said, I was just texting her, and I was supposed to go meet her over there and pick her up for breakfast. But then I called Isabella like 9 times, and I was texting her, nothing, no pickup, no answer, nothing. And I'm like, this is weird. For this kid to turn down a gift and not answer, for a present, a birthday present, like, this is really weird. And then her other friend called back, Mama, you need to look at the news. And he was crying. And I said, what are you talking about? And then I just started getting, my phone was just going off. And I was getting screenshots of Twitter. And then I saw the news, one confirmed dead and one in surgery. And I'm like, oh dear God. And so I know that, I still call it Denver General. I'm not sure what it, Health One, or I don't know. I know that's a trauma one. Mm-hmm. And so I went straight there. And as I was on my way there, I was on the phone with 911. I think something has happened in this area. I have the location. Can you please confirm if Isabella Thallas is okay? Is she, what is going on? I'm her mother, and I'm sorry, ma'am, we don't have any information. And I'm sorry, ma'am, we don't have any information. And that's all I was getting. And I showed up at the hospital. And I was calling the hospital, and obviously press 1, press 2, press 3, 10 to 15 minute hold. Would you like a call back? One of those. And I'm like, somebody tell me something, for Christ's sake, tell me. And I'm crying and I'm like frantic, and I hauled ass. I got there. Can you confirm if Isabella Thallas is in surgery? No, we have no one here by the name of that patient. And I just sat there for a moment and I prayed. I felt it. And by that time, her sister was already, she had texted me, and her sister was already sending me messages, and she was on her way down there to meet me, and it physically hurts. I felt like I was having a heart attack. My chest was burning. I had to sit down. I was crying. I knew. And I just kept crying, and I just kept saying in Spanish, my daughter's dead, my daughter's dead. And there were other women around me. And they held me. They didn't know who I was. I was alone at the time. I had no clue who I was. And they just held me. And I was trying to get a hold of her boyfriend's side of the family. Of course, they're taking care of their son. I couldn't get a hold of anybody. There was nobody. And then I saw it. Again, these are all things that never leave your mind. And
so this was all at the hospital? Were you
yes.
And did you go to the...
Yes, immediately down there to the scene, and I begged. I just wanted to hold her. They wouldn't let me near her. And they finally put a tent up over her, and it was about 95 degrees outside, and you're standing on black asphalt. And I stood there 8 hours maybe. People were kind enough to come out of the apartments and bring us waters, and
I'm so sorry, my gosh. And that shooter, did she know him? Did they know? Did they talked about encounters with this person?
She just always said that there's sketchy people down there that always have issues. She never told me anything else. That was it. Isabella did her best to stay out of confrontation and drama. She didn't like it. She was quiet. She was the type of person where she would take it, and then you better watch out for that temper because and like run from her. She's coming after you. Yeah. So it's like I was in shock. And the way I handle stress, I work. And so I'm thinking in my head, I'm trying to take the personal side out of it because I couldn't handle it, and think from a business aspect what needs to be done at that point. And with everything, I was looking around and how everything was going. I was like, this is going to be, I'm going to have to put on a funeral here, a serious funeral. Yeah. But what I do know is that we will seek justice, and we will get justice for Isabella. And it will come to light. Everything.
What does that justice look like to you?
Well, so far, just from rumors that I've heard or seen, you know what? What justice looks like to me, it's not going to be the same thing that it looks like to everybody else. And I just don't know how to say this politically correct, because there are so many different variables in this case. It's difficult.
So what would you like to see happen? What do you think would be justice for the man who killed
Oh,
your
he needs
daughter?
to be in prison for the rest of his life. I don't want him to see the light of day. Ever. And definitely not in isolation.
And the man whose gun was used? What do you want for him?
I don't want anything for him. As far as to him,
Right.
plenty. I'll leave it at that. Plenty. That was Jacob's one request last year for his 13th birthday. Mama, please don't make her funeral on my birthday, so I don't have to remember this for the rest of my life. And I have a picture of him over here. He was the pallbearer for his sister. And I truly believe that was the day he became a man.
Yeah. That's not anything anyone wants to face.
No, especially a child.
The funeral was on what date?
6/17. So June, very hard month.
Yeah.
Now, it used to be the birthday month, and it's funny, we were just talking, move that from my speaker, we were just talking yesterday. This time last year I was running around picking up like the cake and the flowers and the balloon lady, and planning the cupcakes and the presents and getting the guest list together and everything for Bella's 21st birthday and Lucia's 19th birthday. This is the first year Lucia's birthday is without her sister in her entire life.
How are your kids?
Lucia is majoring in criminal justice, forensic psychology, in Grand Canyon University. She is graduating a year early. She wants to be a police officer.
Because of?
No, she was actually on that trajectory prior to her sister's death. I think this has just fueled her even more and made her even more passionate about it. So, and Jacob, he's dealing with it the best way he can. And I've put him in different, types of sports and outlets physically, but as far as talking about it, he's not ready.
Does your family take some comfort in knowing that you have been very active at the state capitol and getting some laws passed?
I believe so. Yes, I wanted to do it, and I don't want someone to have to experience what I've gone through. It's not right. The violence is awful.
What else do you want the public to know about the situation? What you've...
We want this trial to be dignified, and we want this trial to be tried and true. And that is the first and primary focus that needs to happen here. Everything thereafter is secondary. Isabella and justice for my deceased daughter comes first. Justice for Darian, of course, absolutely. And I have told him this many times. He is going to have a long life ahead of him and a beautiful wife, hopefully beautiful children, all of these things. And yes, we want justice for Darian as well. Bella won't have a life. She's gone. So the only thing that she has left are the people that love her and will stand for her and stand firm and not be moved.
You're looking for truth. You're looking for honesty.
Absolutely. What mother wouldn't? And as a mother, you know your children the best. Every mother knows their child. I know just by the look on my son's face, if he's okay, if he's sick, if he's hungry, what he needs, if there's something that happened that day, if he's holding back from me, if he did something naughty or bad, or I'm like, here's a swat on the butt. What was that for? I don't know. I think you did something bad last week. God, Mom, how do you always know this stuff? You know because you're a mom. You carried that child in your womb. Isabella was created for a reason. And I said since the beginning, I would not let my daughter's death go down in vain. There was a purpose for her life. And I believe that purpose is evident. Look at everything that has happened since she has died. If you reflect upon the past and even that funeral and the attendance to now, Isabella fulfilled her purpose. Whatever it may have been. It's my job as her mother to see it through.
And when you say her purpose, what does that mean?
The lives that she touched, the people that she loved, the people that she cared about. Isabella's truth, Isabella's life, what Isabella was about, the things that she loved to do, the things that she wanted, the life that she wanted, all of those things. We've gotten off track here. It's about Bella. It's not about me. This is not about me. This isn't about anybody else, but seeking justice for Isabella and Darian. Period. And that's where it should stay. And in order to do that, the focus needs and the support needs to be with the prosecution. Everything that falls thereafter, because things will come out in court, I can guarantee it. Everything that comes thereafter is secondary. That's it. That's the way I believe it should be. And I'm doing my best to maintain my dignity and my composure through all of it. The same aspect, I will fight to the bitter end for my daughter and to seek that justice to the fullest extent of the law.
I think we're good, unless there's something else you want to say that I haven't asked you.
One thing I would like to say is that her gun law, I don't want to take away from people owning guns and people, your rights to have your firearm. But for fully automatic weapons to be in the hands of civilians in city limits and within the city, and just not even having to report your gun lost or stolen within a reasonable amount of time, I was floored that that was not already a law. It's been harder for me to get a puppy than it has been for me to get a gun. Why is that? Do you realize what you have to do to get a dog? I would like to have my own support animal, right? There's so many hoops and so many interviews and so many things you have to jump through, but to get a gun, give me a day.
Yeah. I don't know what to say to that.
It's ass backwards and upside down. Human life, humanity, what has happened to it? And where is it going in this country? What is happening? What is happening? I would say 90% of my family is military. People have fought and lost their lives for our freedom. And this is what we do with it.